Hi, my name is Sonia Edmonds, and I'm the managing partner of Innovation and Change for BDO Canada. And today I'm going to be answering some questions about my career. Can you tell us about your career journey? How did it begin, and what has made you choose to build your career at BDO all these years? So, when I think about my career journey, I actually started in finance and operations, and that was many, many years ago. And what I like to refer to as my last real job before I got into consulting. I was a part of what felt like an overnight $70 million organization. When we started that, there was like four of us in a room. And at the end of it, when I left there about 5 years later, it was 200 people across the organization and across Canada. So one of the last things that I did in that organization was just about around the Y2K. And I actually love telling this story now, especially when I'm doing campus recruitment events and things like that, because I realized that my audience actually wasn't even born at the Y2K. So that dates me. But back then, I got to actually go through a software selection process myself. And as part of that, I got to meet a lot of consultants and business analysts. And I thought, I think I could do that. Because I was kind of this always having this feeling that as soon as things kind of got routine or day to day, it was probably time for me to move on. So I saw this ad in the newspaper. I faxed my resume. And when I got back to my desk, my phone was actually ringing. So that actually led me to an opportunity to get into the world of consulting. And as part of that, we were implementing a financial system called Great Plains at the time. So that little boutique shop, I started my technology journey there. So from that boutique shop, we actually got acquired by a large competitive firm. At that time, that firm was implementing the same software, but we got to a point where we couldn't sell the software anymore because of a conflict. So our leader at the time went to go find us a new home, and we landed at BDO. That leader was Dave Simpkins, who's our COO of BDO. So we actually started the beginning of our technology business here at BDO. I grew into the leadership of our technology business, and then grew into the leadership of the broader consulting business, which included management consulting, risk advisory, as well as our technology business. And I also had the opportunity to serve on our board as well for BDO at a really pivotal time for the firm. And then from there, of course, as our CEO came into leadership, Bruno Supa came into leadership, he asked me to join his leadership team and lead innovation and change for BDO Canada. How has BDO helped you along the way to get you to this point in your career? I have to say that BDO has created an incredible platform that actually allowed me to lead boldly. So whether it was leading the consulting practice or leading the transformation of the firm through AI, it's allowed me these opportunities to lead in really bold and incredible ways. What are some of the most important lessons you've learned about leadership during your time at BDO? I'd say as a leader, one of the things that I've really learned is that it's my role to make sure that we've got winning conditions. So you're looking to make sure that you're creating an environment that allows people to grow. One of the things that's been really important for me is to make sure that I've always been also surrounding myself with great people. I'm not going to have all the answers, but I know that with the right folks around me, with the right diversity of thought, that there's really nothing that we can't solve for. What role has mentorship or sponsorship played in your career, and how do you pay that forward within BDO? So for me, mentorship has really been pivotal through my career. At BDO, I was really fortunate to always have leaders, great leaders that believed in me. Some of those leaders even believed in me before I did. And I think that's a really important thing to be able to pass on as well. So within the firm, one of the things that myself and the other leaders within our ELT have done is created a group mentoring program. I came up with the thought of this because I knew I did provide some mentoring. I mentor a handful of people throughout each year, and I knew I wanted to make a bigger impact with that. So I brought this idea forward to our executive leadership team, in particular around trying to help accelerate women into leadership. And as part of that, we started the group mentoring session for women. And that started with our executive leadership team, but has since grown into many leaders across the firm for a variety of different group mentoring sessions. So now we're actually able to put through hundreds of people through this group mentoring program every single month. And that's been hopefully incredibly impactful for others in the firm as well. Every career has defining challenges. Can you share one obstacle you faced in your journey at BDO and how it shaped you as a leader? So this was actually many, many years ago. We had a very different structure. We felt like a different organization back then, but I was still very inspired at that time. And this comes back to a conference that BDO hosted. We had many of our leaders across our group there, and I was super excited. During one of the breaks, I met a senior manager, a young lady that just joined us through an acquisition. And I asked her, I said, "What do you think of this conference? Isn't it great?" And I was super inspired just having listened to a bunch of our leaders that came on stage. And what she pointed out was a clear recognition of lack of diversity of leadership that was demonstrated at that conference. So that was the moment that made me think, okay, there was years and years where I felt like there's many smart women. They can find a path. If I can find a path, they can clearly find a path. But it was in that moment that I realized that it's not about me. It's actually about making sure that I can help support all of those that come behind me as well. And as I continued to grow into leadership, it became more and more important that I made sure that there was a path for all the future leaders to make sure that we had diversity in our leadership group. Women in leadership often encounter barriers that are not always visible. How have you navigated those moments, and what advice would you offer to others facing similar challenges? So for this question, I want to share another story. There was a moment where back when I was leading the Microsoft Dynamics practice, and my leader at the time asked me to meet with a BDO global member firm that was here. We had a global event. A lot of the leaders were here in town, and he asked me to meet with this individual because they were interested in starting up their own Microsoft Dynamics practice. Now, when I met with this individual actually came from a country that was less progressive than we are here in Canada and didn't have really a lot of women in leadership. So I recall specifically when I shook his hand that the way that he looked at me, I could tell what was in his mind. If I could read his mind, he said, "What do you have to tell me, little girl?" That's the look that he gave me. So we sat down. I started sharing some details about what he could do to get started and some information that would be helpful to him. And within 5 minutes, you could completely see his demeanor change and start to realize, okay, you have some information that I really need, and started writing everything down furiously. Now, when I reflect on that moment, I feel like, number one, I should not have been put in this position where I feel like I'm being questioned about my credibility. But those are things that I reflect on and that I share with others, because it's in those moments that were moments of growth for me, and where I would share, don't let somebody else's ignorance or the way that they perceive something deter you, or give you insecurities, or make you have those imposter syndrome moments. Remember that you're invited to the table for a reason, and that you've earned your right. Ask for that chair. Be in that moment and be yourself. You've grown into this moment. How do you see BDO creating opportunities for women and diverse leaders to thrive? So for BDO, it is one of our strategic priorities to make sure that we're focused on diversity and inclusion. And this really allows us to do more together across service lines, and have different perspectives, and that we're bringing different thoughts around the table. And as part of that too, this is actually creating opportunities to do more together with our clients too. Having that diversity, whether it's different offerings, different perspectives, different opportunities, different ways to create value for our clients, this is an incredible opportunity for everybody to be able to do more together. What advice would you have given to your younger self when you started at BDO 20 years ago? So I'd say a big piece of advice that I give myself is to stop waiting to feel ready, right? Take the opportunities that these leaders believe in you. And as you're given opportunities, dive in and believe in yourself. And the other thing is that make sure that you're surrounding yourself with great people, because with that, not only do you have diversity of thought, but you know that you can do way more when you're doing it together. And that's not only about filling your gaps or accelerating as well, but that old saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Looking ahead, what excites you most about the future of BDO and your role in shaping it right now as we're shaping the future of BDO and we're looking at transformation through AI and innovation? And this isn't just about us as a firm and for our people. This is the future of work and also the way that we're transforming and thinking about how we better service our clients as well. This is creating an opportunity for us to do more together and do more together with our clients. And on top of that, as part of that, leading that transformation, it's really important that we're doing it with the lens of having diverse leaders at the forefront of this too. Throughout your career, collaboration has been at the core of your leadership. How has the idea of doing more together shaped your path at BDO and the impact you've made along the way? So absolutely, collaboration has always been at the core of the way that I lead. And this aspect of doing more together, this is not just about doing more together at BDO. It's actually to be able to create more opportunity to do more together with our clients as well. By doing more together, we're able to create greater value for our clients and in understanding their challenges and being able to help serve them better, create greater value for them. I recall back, again, even when I was responsible for a particular service line, I would always be looking for these opportunities that are listening to our clients' challenges. And this aspect of doing more together was really about being able to, again, being able to provide better service offerings for our clients and a greater value for them as well. So thanks for joining, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my career journey, and I hope we can do more together.